Well, good afternoon and welcome to another breaking news hot stove update from the steakhouse. Hope you're doing well. Let's roll a Monday mid-afternoon edition to you in three, two, one. Here we go. Let's roll it, folks. Happy Monday, Victory Monday for the Chief Faithful. And always great on a Monday, right? I mean, we're in the holiday season. It's Monday. It's one day closer to Christmas. Hope you're doing well, everybody, and welcome. My name's Dan Vaughn, voice of the Kansas City T-Bones, and I'm glad you take a little time to stop by the old steakhouse. A lot of you folks out there today, you may have seen this, but as promised, as we get the breaking news and the things that happen, we fire them off to you, okay? And we get those to you here on our Facebook channel. By the way, if you're hearing me, thumbs up. I believe I'm being heard. This is what I like to do. I like to kind of just check and see if I hear myself. Oh my gosh, I hear myself. So we're all good. Glad you're along. Ray chimes in. I don't think the T-Bone should change their name. The Monarchs, they do the Royals should change. We'll get to a little of that. That's not really why we're here, but I do like your your comments and questions. They're welcome here, and I'll get those up. By the way, in a moment we will get those on the board if I can get this off the screen for you guys. And actually, my lighting. Did I move my lights around during the open? I guess I did. I had the lights. The lights are kind of. There we go. I don't know how that. I must have moved to grab my coffee. And anyway, what you're here for, right? You're here for this, the breaking news part, which is what we're all here for, right? Those breaking hot stove updates. You know, I was thinking about this morning when I was jogging. We did a lot of hot stove updates last year, right? We were doing them around this time as well, right? We were going through that, getting excited for the 2020 season. Never happened. A couple of things, and really one major thing. I guess you guys saw this, but today and actually yesterday, all 50 states received the COVID vaccine, or at least a doses of it, I guess, depending on what state you're in, how many doses they got. But that's being shipped. I feel much better today than I did last Monday or Monday before that or Monday before that, because we actually been talking about getting this thing going, and now we do. And now we can actually say with a little bit more confidence. Now, granted, this season may look a little different. It may sound different. It may play a little differently, but we're going to have a season. And I feel better about doing these updates for you guys, those breaking news updates right here. So let's jump into it. I like production value, right? I love that production value. Have a little production value for you folks. Here we go. The breaking news. We go to the breaking news corner. There we go. It sounds so official with that, doesn't it? In my own inner Ron Burgundy, it needs stay classy, everybody, right? Stay classy. Okay, this is a guy in Akeem Bostic, which you may have seen this up on our channel already. Morgan did a great job putting this graphic together. I love this graphic update. By the way, Morgan, do you guys realize what gold we've got there? I mean, she whips this logo out. I mean, I'm out jogging. She whips it out before I even got back from my morning chugging around the neighborhood. That's how good she is. Akeem Bostic. And why I think this is what's weird. Because of no 2020 season, I'm going to be again saying this to you guys last season. What I mean by last season, 2019. I went back this morning and knowing he was coming back our way, what an impact he had in a very short time. Now, he was signed in August of 2019. Remember, came out of the Astros organization, had been as high as AAA, AA with them. Was one of those guys that looked like he was on the rise, young man out of South Carolina. Talked a bit about his background and came very, very late to us. But do you recall his first start? Let me take you back, because it's been a while, to August 16th of 19. Now, you recall the T-Bones had not one but two doubleheaders scheduled between the 16th of August and the 21st of August. And we talked about going into August, those dog days, how those two doubleheaders might define the T-Bone season, because one was in Texas, a team that was way down the standings. One was in Lincoln, a team that was on your heels half away, but had already kind of fallen off, but they would like nothing more than play spoiler for you. But you had a doubleheader on the 16th in Texas and one back home after that road trip on the 21st at T-Bone Stadium. And both of those doubleheaders, Akeem Bostic started two of those games, along with Jose Mesa Jr. They both didn't piggyback. They both started the doubleheader games. Kansas City won both ball games, including that sweep in Texas, which was a 3-2 score in one of those ball games. And I believe that ball game that Akeem won down there was the 3-2 win down there. He went 5 innings. Bostic in his first two starts for Kansas City, which were also in doubleheaders, which the T-Bones swept, winning all 4 ball games. Now let's go back. Remember 19? The T-Bones were in the middle of a 12-game winning streak. At the time, I believe the T-Bones had got 8 wins under their belt and were going for that eventual 12-gamer, which carried all the way back home. And the T-Bones finally lost a game to win that stretch. But in that 12-game winning streak, and I'm looking back here, and I'll pull this up for you guys just to kind of read it to you. Kansas City, remember the T-Bones lost on the 6th of August at Cleburne, then won 2 more at Cleburne on the 7th and 8th, then won the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, 12th, all the way through the 18th of the month until the T-Bones lost on the 19th at Sioux City. So Kansas City won 2 at Cleburne and came home, won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 against Cleburne in Texas, then back down to Texas again. Remember, this is the back and forth Texas KC shuffle. It was going back and forth for the T-Bones then. The T-Bones won the doubleheader on the 16th of August, 3-2, 4-1 scores, and then went to Lincoln on the 21st after dropping the 2, the 19th and 20th. That was I believe it was a 3-game series at Sioux City. Kansas City lost the 18th, actually won the 18th for the 12-game winning streak, an all-time franchise high. We've had a great ride. That 12-game winning streak really catapulted the T-Bones, including a doubleheader sweep in that mix, to the top of the ladder that year. And then again, the 2 games lost against Sioux City, but then came right back. Kansas City swept the series of 4 games against Lincoln, and one of those in extra innings, and then won the opener at Sioux City, back to Sioux City, dropped a pair. But Kansas City, just looking back at that stretch that Akeem Bostic joined the ball club was in a stretch where the T-Bones won a 12-game winning streak, a 5-game winning streak, a 6-game winning streak, and only dropping 2, 4, 5 in that stretch. So that's what my math tells me: 12, 18, and 23. So the T-Bones closed out that 19 season in those 23 wins and the 5 losses. Akeem Bostic won 3 of those 25 ball games, 2 of which were doubleheader starts, one of which was a bullpen start. So looking back on what Bostic did in a short time with Kansas City, pretty big stuff here. So again, I'm reading off the screen there, but good to see you guys out there. JR asking a question. I'll get to that in a moment to close this thing out. But I guess what Joe Kaff-Pietra does as a T-Bone skipper, sometimes I kind of take it for granted. And as fans, maybe we do too. We just figure Joe just plugs a guy in there, rolls him out there, and here we go. And that's kind of what happens. That's exactly what happens. It's happened in 17, 18, 19. But oftentimes, I don't look back and look at the actual numbers because I just kind of take it for granted. I think that's, we just assume it's going to be. And looking back on Akeem, his numbers for the season for Kansas City, again, he was a Rangers second-round pick out of West Florence High School in South Carolina. Big guy, 6'6", 205. Remember, had a high school football background too. His one T-bone stay, 2-1, 3.12 in 17 and a third. He allowed 15 hits, 17 strikeouts, including that stretch where he started the first two ball games, going 11 innings, allowing just 4 hits and 1 earned run. I mean, and again, you get those 2 W's in the doubleheader. Now, remember, think of it as we're doing this race during the stretch drive. You know, you not only had Cleburne to deal with, who were in first place at the time that winning streak started. You had Sioux City that actually had you by a half game in the wild card. You actually passed those 2 clubs, and what was very big was those doubleheaders, because that's a 2-game. Well, that's more than that. It's a 4-game swing. It's a 2-game swing in the first doubleheader, another 2-game swing in the other doubleheader. You got the normal win you got, plus you picked up the win. So you got the 2-game swing in the doubleheader in the 16th, the doubleheader the 21st. Bostic got you 2 of those W's. Pretty big right there. And I think looking down the road and what he brings the ball club, Joe likes these guys that are hungry. Now, he went to St. Louis, most likely would have been a Cardinals AAA guy, perhaps knocking on the big league door this last year, except the 2020 season was, as we all know, was a mess. And with COVID and all that, he did not pitch at AAA, didn't pitch for the Cardinals at all, as spring training was shut down. I believe he made 1 appearance in spring training for the Cardinals, but has spent time with the Astros and Rangers. Rangers in 13-14, and then the Astros 15 through the 19 season was released at AAA Round Rock, and Joe jumped right on in there in 2019. He joined us there in Texas and rocked and rolled. So, yeah, good to see Akeem back. He's a big guy, and I think, again, you look at what Joe tries to do. He likes these kind of guys that are hungry, that have seen success, either been close or been there. And those guys seem to fit what the T-Bones are doing perfectly, because Joe's got his normal collection of young talent and, you know, his pieces, but he likes these pitchers like this, especially, and I should probably say pitchers. He likes these guys. Brian Ellington, we've already mentioned a couple weeks ago, or I guess a week ago, with his return. You know, we remember when Tommy Collier was getting those all-time innings for the T-Bones in those 2 solid years he brought in. Tommy was in that same pedigree, same guy. He'd been a AAA, AA guy, was trying to get that thing back on track, hungry to get there, and hungry to catapult the T-Bones, which is what the T-Bones are there for. Even with this new Major League agreement, as far as the MLB Partner League, nothing changes what Joe does, what the T-Bones are going to do on the field. Nothing changes there. The motto is still to get players back to affiliated baseball and back to pursuing their major league dreams. That's never changed. It won't change. And guys like Bostic fit that mode perfectly. I want to read you the quote that Joe says here too, and I'll get to you guys' comments too as well as Nate chimes in. He says, "We're very excited to have Akeem back for 2021. He's really a good arm with a great character. We're happy that he wanted to return to KC after being signed with the Cardinals following the 2019 season." There he is, manager Joe Caffrey-Pietri. Yeah, so what I remember, a big arm is what Anthony says, and you're right on, Anthony. He was a big arm, a very big arm for the T-Bones. And again, he won the 2 games, the doubleheaders, but the Kansas City had the bookend doubleheaders. It was a 6, and what was that? I'm going to look back on that now, what the day of the week that was. I don't think I've got that handy. Let me pull that up for you guys, because it runs together a little bit, especially with this whole COVID. Okay, he pitched on that doubleheader. Was a Friday. And I believe it was the first game in. It was our first game in to Texas, and that was the weird part. We had to make the doubleheader up on the first game at Grand Prairie, and we couldn't wait around and adjust things. So Joe had to throw him out there. He jumped out there, and his first start was phenomenal. And that 21st fell on that Wednesday against Lincoln. And remember, the T-Bones came back in 2 of those ball games in that 4-game series to sweep the 4 games. And really, from there on, it was KC either in the wild card or in the division title. He did figure in that 31st ball game, which was on a Saturday, a big win in relief. Remember, Kansas City came back to beat Sioux City at home? That was the weekend where Kansas City beat Sioux City, clinched the division title. Bostic was also on the hill in relief that night when Kansas City came from behind to beat the Explorers and clinch a playoff spot and a division title in 2019. So a lot of history there, a lot of excitement. I want to walk into this memory lane with you guys here on the hot stove, because with all the 2020, we've just kind of forgotten. how good this team really is, how good Joe does, and what we've got on the field. I think you pair that excitement with some of the things you guys are talking about on the Twitter line and on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Twitter line. What am I, 800 years old, like some old guy? The Twitter line, Sonny. What's Dan doing? But you guys get the point, right? But yes. And Damian says, hopefully play some baseball this year. I'm right there with you. Again, I've not felt this optimistic about all this baseball next year. And I'll put them back on the screen for you. Sorry about that. Than I had this morning. I mean, seeing that vaccines were sent around the country, every state got some or getting some. I guess Hawaii and Alaska may have got them very early in the morning. But yesterday, FedEx took half the country, UPS took the other. Pretty big deal. Pretty exciting deal. In that we know that we'll have something in place we didn't have a year ago this time, or really it wasn't even this time. Can you imagine, even a year ago this time, we didn't even have this. But let's say back in the March of last year, and when we're talking about would we play or would we not, we've got something in place now, and Lord willing, we're going to be just fine. So all good. Yeah, the Twitter machine. There you go, Kevin. Yeah, the Twitter machine. I sound like 1921 guy. You say. I need that those old. I need the cap with the press on the side. Yeah, you see, Sonny, you get in the business there, did you, champ? Well, and I need one of those cameras with the big lens with the big bulb that. Whew, the 1920s, 1930s paparazzi. That's me. Questions, comments on the hot stove, guys. This is real short here for you. A couple of other items to get along with you, get along to you. We will do these shows as they happen, as the news comes about. I'm going to break in, give you a Facebook Live update, other items like that, and any kind of other odds and ends. I'm working on a show, but I'm kind of thinking it might be just better just to keep doing what we're doing right now, just from a schedule standpoint. It's the holidays. I reserve the right to change my mind if I want to do a Christmas special, but I really got a phenomenally busy broadcast week, personally and professionally overseas, and plus you never know that this stuff going to happen. So I don't want to bite off more than I can chew and not give you guys the proper coverage you need. So we may just stay with these updates as they happen. I do have a big plan for a big show with Joe when we get rolling right again and get him in. I want to revisit with Joe Capietra his philosophies, his plans. I think it's very important to keep you guys in the loop on that. And of course, what will the parade route be next September? You sound like the Melbourne Aces fans. You count your chickens for your hatch there? Well, not sure that the fans aren't, but if you look at the Melbourne Aces roster in the Australian Baseball League, you'd think that they might as well just plan the parade route in Victoria now. By the way, I didn't mention this last week, and I probably should have, and it slipped my mind, but I'm going to give this to you as well. I'm talking about T-Bones and what they're doing. If you want to catch some of the T-Bones and what they're doing in winter ball, I mentioned last week, and I don't know why I didn't even draw. I may have mentioned in passing, but I may not have. But Kansas City picking up Aaron Brown last week from St. Paul. He's actually pitching winter ball in Brisbane in Australia. So you can catch him in Australia for the Brisbane Bandits. And that, I believe, they're not playing actually. They don't start until, I believe, the 30th, 31st December in Australia, because it's a staggered start in Australia this year because of all the restrictions with borders and state borders and coming in the country and out. And they're doing a staggered start. I won't bore you with that right now. You want to find out more about that, you can tune in to Talking Baseball Australia. But that's not what I'm talking about. But Aaron is pitching for Brisbane. So he's actually going to have, which is good news because he's coming out of a season where he pitched a little bit in the States, go get into the winter ball, get himself ready to go for the T-Bones in the spring over here. So that's a little piece of news I didn't pass along to you guys already. But Anthony says, and I'll answer this. Yeah, you know what? I'll answer it. T-Bones changed their name and what? All I will tell you, and what I do know, and I know a lot about what goes on between the lines. You know that. Outside the lines, what I do know, there is a rebranding. It should be no secret. You guys see actually that color right there, you're seeing that blue. is actually the official color that I've been using. That rebranding color goes back to last year. That is actually, just to be funny, be snarky, that is a hex number 002855 blue. Kansas City, as you recall, we went with new blue and new red last year. We never used those colors because we didn't play. But yes, new colors in the logo in the corner as well. There is a rebranding going on, Anthony. It's not in the final stages. If it was in this, put it this way, if it was in the final stages, it would already be announced because it's Christmas time, right? And what would you want to do? You'd want to make sure you got strike with the irons hot. Well, I don't think anything's officially done yet. Thus, we've not made an announcement. That's pretty much the way it stands. Is Monarchs a done deal? Again, it's same thing, Jim. Nothing's done. Nothing's set in stone. Nothing. And here's the deal: a lot of these things, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I was involved with the Burlington Bees many, many moons ago, and we had a branding, or not such a branding change, but a color and logo change. That process actually began prior to me working with him. It carried over for 2 years and didn't actually launch till my second year there. There's a lot of things involved. Whenever you change your name, there's a lot of trademarks and colors and logos and all kinds of licensing things. Even though we're independent baseball, we do have our own trademarks. And if we were to use, let's say, the name, let's just say we use the name Mountaineer. That's a ridiculous name to say, but let's say we use the word Mountaineer. That name may or may not be trademarked and owned by somebody else. We may have to work out some kind of royalty agreement with them. There's always those things involved whenever you go this route. Whenever you change your name, it's always the case. You remember when the Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore, became the Ravens? Well, the Ravens became a new logo, new city and all that. And the Browns logo, the Browns history, the Browns trademarks stayed in Cleveland for the new ownership. I mean, those are all legalese. That's all legal items that are way above what I deal with, but it's what goes on with this, with the trademarks and all that, logos and all that. So this is one of those things that takes some time. And, I can guarantee you, and I know this for a fact, and I think this should make you fans feel pretty good. Mark Brandmeier, who's the new owner, you guys know this. Mark McKee, who's also basically the number 2 man in that hierarchy as far as our organizational structure goes. And Jay Heinrichs, the list of folks that are involved with the T-Bones and all the way down to Morgan and way on down to the bottom toward the barrel. I shouldn't say barrel, down the ladder toward myself. They've worked very, very hard. And they've worked very, very hard on this rebrand. And they're not going to do anything until it's ready. I will tell you this group is doing things right, 100% right. And they're not going to jump the gun, whether it be the Eagles, Mountaineers, the T-Bone, whoever you want to call the team. They're not going to do that until they know everything is ready to go. It's not just going to be thrown up there casually, and these things are not going to be done at the 11th hour. It's going to be done the right way. I can guarantee you that. But I know these folks have worked extremely hard. They're working hard in the community. They're working hard to help rebrand us. And that may or may not include a new name change. I do know it includes new colors. But I can tell you this, the things that lie ahead, and I told you guys this 2 weeks ago, I told you guys this last week in both these shows, there's some really exciting things ahead for all of us. And what we're doing as a brand, what we're doing as a team, as a family. This is a good time to be a part of the T-Bones. It's always a good time to be a part of the T-Bones, but really good time for what we're doing in KCK and the metro area. So I hope that kind of answers your questions. I know I don't tell you much. I feel like the White House press secretary a little bit. But again, some of the things that are out there were just a little on the jump of the gun. And, read into it what you may, what you will. You can choose to read into how you may. But when it's ready to go, we're going to get it. I guarantee. And like I told you guys, I got a present for you guys. And it may not get open at Christmas. It may be open sometime after the first of the year. But you got a present coming, an exciting present. Plus, you already know you've got your T-Bones under the current on-field structure going to be kicking tail. And whatever we do at the ballpark, T-Bones, the Fighting Dan Vaughns, whatever we're going to call us, we're going to be awesome. We're going to have a great brand. We're going to have great entertainment, great opportunities for fans, for sponsors, you name it. We're going to be the place to be on a summer's night in the metro. Period in the story. That's what's going to happen. I guarantee you. So with that being said, I can't wait for baseball. Me neither, Anthony. I'm with you. Again, this is the first time I felt pretty good the last few weeks, but when I was jogging this morning, I heard the news. I was listening to a dear mate of mine, sports show out of Lubbock, of all places, which kind of odd, thinking that why you listen to something far away, but I listen to a lot of Kansas City stuff too. But the news broke in the top of the hour, all 50 states got a vaccine. That doesn't mean we're all going to get it, but again, it's the first time in a long time where I actually say, you know what? That's a step in the right direction instead of we've kind of been stepping sideways, dodging the bullets. Now we step forward and kind of said, okay, we put a stop to a bullet. And that's exciting. Now we got a long way to go, but it's a lot better. It's like I told my fans, or some of my fans, Paul Morgan, my broadcast partner in Australia, our followers over there, I told them, the American Association is in a very good spot right now because we've got a 6-month leeway where, remember last March and April and May, we didn't have it weeks. Now, the Australian Baseball League just is going through what the American Association went through. They didn't decide their schedule till about a month ago. And now they're coming up on or less than a week to opening day. They opened Friday over there, Thursday here. And they still got question marks and things flying at them, much like the American Association. We're in a situation now, we've been through those wars already, and now we're able to kind of regroup. And I feel very, very strongly, Anthony and everybody else, that we're going to have a great, great season. And I see no reason on paper why Kansas City will not be a playoff team again. I see no reason on paper the T-Bones aren't one of the best 2 teams in the league. Hot stove's like that, though. The hot stove's so great because your hands are so warm and everything feels great. You betcha. Come spring, we're going to be kicking tail. Spring, what's old spring? Spring's eternal. Spring's eternal. Hope springs eternal. How will MLB picking up the league change? Really, JR, what that really is, and I think that's probably something we should talk about more when we have our next show with Joe, is where that stands. And I'll put that back on the board for you guys to kind of follow what I'm thinking here. What the partnership means, it doesn't mean that we're affiliated with the major leagues. Okay? Omaha, affiliated, right? Northwest Arkansas, affiliated. Des Moines, affiliated. You get the point. Okay? St. Paul now is going to be affiliated. We're going to be partners with the major leagues, but we're not going to have an affiliation. Now, I would imagine what you're going to see perhaps in the Frontier League, the new Pioneer League, which is actually going to be an independent league taking over the old affiliated league. In the Pioneer League was an old rookie league, which is going to be Grand Junction, Billings, Boise, Butte, places like that, Helena. Those are going to be independent teams now. You'll probably see a lot of young players who either aren't draft ready or maybe heading to the draft or would normally go to perhaps the old Pecos League. We're going to go there. The Frontier League might also get younger, but I think you could see some places where, for example, the Royals say, you know what? We don't have a place at AAA or AA for this guy, but let's encourage him to go to KC. I could see that happening. Go to KCK and play with the T-Bones. I could see that happening. But by and large, you're not going to see a lot of difference because our philosophy is still the same, and it bodes well what Major League Baseball wants from the association. Major League Baseball needs this kind of league where players are developing either to A, get back to chase their dreams, or B, if they're really a prospect or not. Those are 2 things that this league serves. All the while we're winning. We're at Des Moines or Northwest Arkansas. It's about developing players, especially AA, the Texas League. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of major differences. I don't think you're going to see much more. We may get a few more players here and there that we might not have gotten before, but that was already happening anyway. The American Association has gone, when I came to this league in 2013, was getting a few fringe guys. Now you're seeing, except for maybe the exception's Gary, because they have usually a lot younger roster. But all these clubs, the old Saints, Winnipeg, Fargo, you name it, obviously us, you're getting more AAA, AA, ready caliber type players and former big leaguers where that was unheard of in 2013. The big leaguer was random back then. Now, what do we had? 6. We had at one time last year, 2019, we had 6 in the lineup card one night that had big league experience. 9 total on our roster at one point last year in 2019. So you're going to see that. Yeah, I'm excited too. I think it's exciting because it opens up a lot of doors. And I think what it does too, there was a time, and I know I've told this story before. I remember going to baseball winter meetings, say 1996, 7-ish, somewhere in there. Independent folks were the pariah of baseball. If you were working for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers or the Charleston River Dogs, you were the thing. But if you worked for an independent league, you were a pariah. No one would talk to you. You couldn't even get into there's a job fair they do. And if I was wanting to hire potential college students to work for me, I couldn't go to the job fair because I was an independent person. I couldn't go in there and try to recruit because that was off limits. That's all changed. The independent baseball has totally changed, and the reputation's different now. And I think it's exciting what lies ahead. And I think it's going to open up for us. Any coaching changes? I do not believe so. As far as I know, everybody's all back. Of course, Joe Capietra. I do believe that the entire staff will return. Frank White, I would assume, would be back. I've not heard he won't be back. Bill Sobey, I believe, will be back. I've not heard he won't, but I would expect Bill to be there. I don't know who the pitching coach will be. Remember, that's been pitching coach. Bill was pitching coach and third base coach off and on the last couple of years. The T-Bones have also gone with a AAA veteran player coach in the past as well. I don't know how the assignments will break out. My assumption is it'll be what it was late last year or late 2019. Bill Sobey will probably act in the pitching coach role, is my guess. And Frank will be your first base coach at home. And then you'll have John West, will be your same spot clubhouse and first base coach on the road, and your club guy, travel extra coach on the road is my guess. Yeah, I don't expect any changes there. I've not heard of any changes there. If we do get anything, I'll let you know. But the only thing I can see is perhaps an additional coach, maybe a pitching coach or a separate hitting coach, depending on what the role is for Bill. Bill can do the hit. Bill is so versatile as a former catcher in the bullpen for the Royals. He can be a hitting coach, a pitching coach, catching coach, you name it. And you can easily see that those roles being moved around. But I know Joe Capietra is ecstatic with his staff. He believes that Bill and Frank and John are his guys. He calls them his guys. Those are his guys. So I would expect those guys who are very KC-centric to be back. How about that? George Samus is the bench coach. Well, George Samus, of course, former St. Paul Saints skipper who will be moving on with the Twins affiliation. I imagine he gets a call to manage somewhere, don't you? If you're an independent league person, if you have a team that's going to be coming in the American Association or Atlantic League or whatever league, don't you call George Samus and say, hey, come on. He's one of, 5 managers in independent baseball with 1,000 wins? Will Danny Mars be back? That I don't know. I've not heard anything one way or the other on Danny Mars. His rights would be definitely in the team, would be held by the T-Bones still, but I've not heard one way or the other. I would say there's a possibility, but I've not heard. But Don, we will be looking for that as well. Anything else, guys? Anything else out there on your Monday? Okay, as breaking news happens, I'm going to give it to you. Let's see here. Do we know this? Yes, Stu, very good. I probably should have mentioned this too. Let me give you what's going on there, what I do know, okay? Now, you guys saw this last week. It was a very bittersweet day. St. Paul became AAA, which means suddenly we got an opening in our league in the North, right? You remember Grand Prairie left the league, or Texas left the league 2 months ago. Those are 2 openings. Major League Baseball reshuffled the deck with 120 teams now. They're down to 120 from 100 and 160, whatever it was. 40 of them got chopped off. So you got those affiliates. It left 3 clubs, King County, in our general vicinity. King County, which was in Geneva, Illinois, right outside Chicago. If you go straight out from downtown Chicago, going out 94, I believe, you'll pass Naperville, past Downers Grove, Naperville, then you go into Geneva. That's King County, which is right outside Chicago. going west toward the Quad Cities. That market is open. Also, both Burlington in Iowa on the Mississippi River, and then up the river, other side of the Quad Cities, is Clinton, Iowa. Both those two affiliations became open and got left out in the Midwest League. So those three teams in the Midwest League are no longer in the Midwest League. What I'm hearing is that Burlington's probably going to be thrown into some kind of hybrid wooden bat league. Perhaps Clinton joins them. I'm hearing good things from King County. I do have a very dear friend there that I've known for a number of years who's their VP. I've kind of followed a little bit of that. So that is part of it too. Kansas City T-Bones are responding here, and I was going to get to that in a moment, but yes, and that's what I'm talking about right now. We should have a schedule. Yes, that's what I'm talking about now. We're working on it. The league, it's not really a T-Bones problem. I shouldn't say it that way. It's not, we put it this way, Jay and Morgan and company aren't in the office right now. Mark, when they're not in the office shuffling around. What happens in these things, we give the league what dates we want to protect, meaning do you want to be home 4th of July? You can't be home 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Labor Day. I believe it's only 2 of the 3, I believe. So they give you, and if you've got, for example, when Wichita was in our league, they had protected dates because of the National Baseball Congress thing that would do the NBC. So they had NBC dates that blocked out their ballpark. They couldn't use it. So the league would get those dates, and they would work around your schedule based on dates you were available to use your facility. Now, for us, we're pretty wide open. We may want 4th of July and have Labor Day, or Labor Day and not have 4th of July. Usually the way it works is nothing. The way it usually works, you want one of those holidays. Those you send to the league, right? Then from there, the league will take and look at everybody's situation and juggle it out. That's been going on. Only problem is this year is a fluid year with both St. Paul and the Texas club going. You've now got these 2 gaps, and you've got a different balance of schedules, how the divisions look, all that. You throw in the fact that Major League Baseball has opened some markets up. That's also out there too. So I think there's some potential in King County, to answer part of your question. I also think there's potential for a barnstorming team I'm hearing. These are things I'm not hearing from the T-Bones. These are not T-Bones official wording. This is what I'm hearing from my sources that I know out there. Because I want to know too. I mean, I want to know who we're playing. I want to know where we're going. And the T-Bones front office, Jay and company are there right now. They're out there, the group nights, season ticket holders, corporate things lined up, and you want to know when you're playing. We're going to play. We just don't want to know what the dates are. And it's hard to book those things not knowing. So that's the reason this is a different year for a lot of reasons. Yes, and again, what we say here, any information regarding this will be released soon on our social media outlets. Stay tuned, which I'm on right now. So again, it's like we just said earlier, guys. Anything we have announced, we're going to give it to you. And believe me, when the schedule comes out, we will not waste any time to give it to you. But that's the delay. It's nothing on our side. It's a league thing. The league has got to replace, a team in each division. And they've also got some opportunities to move some things around. And it's been a real busy week for both Major League Baseball, the minor leagues, and independent leagues. Been crazy. So all that's been going on. And, what you don't want to have happen is what happened was at 17, where we got the season and we had to change our schedule a month out, or less than a month out. So they're going to make sure they do it right. And and again, I sound like I'm broken record maybe, but our folks in KC and the folks in the league office, when you got a league office that's got Josh Buckholz and Josh Schaub, who just pulled off a season during COVID, I think we're going to be okay, but just give them some time. We'll get a schedule out to you guys. I'm excited. I want to know too, because I have a drill. You guys know the drill, where I go through and kind of figure out, okay, where I'm going to be here. I mean, I go through and memorize the schedule, so I know by the time we get to the middle of hot stove, say March, or into the hot stove, March, April, I can already tell you where we're going to be in. Where we're going to be June 22nd, Dan. Well, we're going to be in Gary or whatever. I know these things. But I don't know. I can't memorize it yet. So anyway, okay. So we get breaking news. We're going to give it to you right here. Anything hot stove related, anything T-Bones related, any news at all, you're going to hear it right here from this face. Should I smile differently? I don't know. All right, love you guys. Much love. Love you guys. Again, in case you missed it, Akeem Bostic is back. Bostic with the T-Bones. Very impressive run with the T-Bones back in 2019. Won 2 crucial doubleheader games in the same week, really helping the T-Bones in a 12-game winning streak that will eventually catapult us to the top of the standings and eventually a first division title ever in the American Association. But a very big part of things, ERA 3.16, a guy, a strikeout per inning guy, big guy, imposing guy, a perfect guy to strap up in that rotation. So look for a great rotation piece right there. And it will be shaping up already to be a very deep T-Bones pitching staff. That's your news right there. Jim, thanks for joining me as well. Appreciate you, mate. Appreciate everybody out there. T-Bones, which actually I believe is probably Morgan. Thank you for chiming in, guys. Again, always, I love seeing you guys. I miss y'all. I'm looking forward to catching up with you guys soon. Kevin's going to say, you guess KC. I don't know. It's a guess. Be a fun one, wouldn't it? That'd be a fun opening night, wouldn't it? Rematch of last year's last year. That's what we'll call it. We're going to call 2019 last year's last year. That's what we're going to call it. Because right now we're currently on March, 235. So we'll call it last year's last year. New term for you guys. Hashtag last year, last year. There you go. All right, guys. Much love to y'all. Good to see y'all. Have a great rest of your Monday. And we get breaking news. I'm going to give it to you right here. Let's be better tomorrow than we were today. Let's show more love tomorrow than we did today. Big hugs to everybody. Virtual hugs. Love my baseball family. Miss you guys. Let's get ready to be great fans again in 2021. How about that? Love you guys. We'll see y'all next time on the Steakhouse and a hot stove update. Let's take it away with a little closing jam.